All right. Good evening, everyone. Good evening to those in India, and depending on, on the time zone, morning, afternoon, evening to the rest of you. And thank you for taking time out and being here. We are really excited to have you here. Without wasting any time, just a quick introduction of me to those of you who don't know me. My name is Sushma Iyer Rasal. I'm the founder of Refind You. I'm a counseling psychologist. Makarand and I go back as we were classmates in our coaching certification, and that's, I think, way back in 2012, Mac, 2012.
15.
2015, right. And I come from a psychology background primarily. Before that, I was in marketing and content and product management, but then eventually I've been in this space since the end of 2010. So that's my background, and there are a number of certifications and qualifications that I have equipped myself with in the space of psychology and multiple modalities there. So that's a little bit about me. And over to you, Mac.
Thanks, Sushma. So lovely to see familiar faces on the call today and some new ones. So for those of you do not know me, I'm Makarand, popularly, unpopularly called as Mac. Want to go by the coach moniker as Coach Makarand, trying to build that name. I'm the founder of Equipoise, which is an executive coaching and a business consulting company. I've been in this work for the last 7 odd years now. Prior to that, all the experience is in the healthcare domain for around 20-21 years. And again, some certifications to my credit in terms of being objective and key results certified practitioner, certified executive coach. I also teach at NMIMS as a visiting faculty for family business MBA. And I'm also a facilitator for the WBEX, which is now called as coaching.com, as a facilitator for their implementation mastery sessions. And been doing this coaching work now for 7 years, and this is our collaboration with Sushma, and I'm looking forward to a lovely session today. Yep.
Great. And today, what we will do together is quickly explore your natural leadership style. Try and identify your strengths and weaknesses based on your natural leadership style. And as all of you know, and that's what the session is called, explore 5 powerful yet simple to implement strategies to be great leaders. So without wasting any time, we will jump right in. So hope that you have your notepad, notebook, diary, or some digital equipment handy, so that if there are any reflection points, you are able to note them down to come back to them, right? So we're going to begin with looking at this group of leaders, right? Each of them are established in their field, and they manage a group of people, and they've been in the industry for a while. So we're going to try and understand what each of their personalities are, and just pay attention to see which of them do you relate with. Okay, we begin with the gentleman right on the left. So we begin with C. Okay, so C is a very people-oriented person. For him, his primary strength is to connect with people. He gives a lot of importance to relationships, to rapport, to what is it that will keep the team together? How can we achieve more as a team? So, doing everything that it takes to make sure that the team is comfortable, right? So quickly, what do you think could be the limitations or the shortcomings or the weaknesses of C? We could mention in the chat.
So we want to keep the chat box engaging. So feel free to type in. What do you think could be the
challenges that C could face? Yeah. We may not necessarily want to call it a weakness, but what challenges do you think C could face when they are very people-oriented? Limitation for forcing the team, yes. So maybe areas where you want to push them, it may be difficult, it may be challenging. Yes, what else?
Thanks, Dipesh. Anybody else?
could be taken for granted. Yes, they may be soft, and therefore it may be difficult for them to really put their foot down. Yes, absolutely. What else? Is there anything else? One more. There could be many, but let's have one more. Anybody? What more? What could be a challenge that C could face when they are all about the team and taking everyone together and making sure that the team is comfortable? Unable to honor their own commitment? Yes, very, very possible. Vision and target oriented may be difficult. That could be a challenge, you're saying, right? Yes, absolutely. Perfect. Thank you all for sharing. So yes, see, while their strengths would be about people, these could be the challenges that they could face. They may find it difficult to set boundaries even, right? Or have a vision. All of these are absolutely on point. Yes. And then we move on to B, the lady that's right next to C. And B is someone who's very detail oriented, is very data driven, is someone who goes by facts, is highly logical. So anything that is about processes and is about data and logic and facts, they are absolutely on point, right? Extremely organized, extremely systematic, extremely process driven, even in their thought process. It's very easy for them to give you information which are based on facts, right? And they like details. They are very, very, what do you say, oriented to very tiny, very minute details. And that's how they are. Like you can, and they're extremely reliable people because they're so driven by data, right? So it's very difficult for you to find a fault because they are perfectionists by nature, right? So if B was a leader that you know of or you relate with, what do you think could be their challenges?
Someone who is very data oriented, someone who is fact oriented, black and
task
white.
oriented, yes. Data, what do you say? Like logic, organized, perfectionist. What challenges do you think a leader of that kind could face?
Very tough taskmaster. Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Wouldn't be liked by team. Possible. Yes.
Possible. Yes.
Impersonal and ruthless. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Impersonal. Yes. Ruthless. Let's see. Tolerance level for deviations are low, so making it stressful for the team. Absolutely. Especially the perfectionist tendency, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
One more.
This is wonderful. Keep them coming. Acceptance from team could be low or high. It's a challenge.
Because they are process oriented, people might not like them, so they won't accept their style. Yeah.
Right. Sometimes implementing new strategies, she may not be able to. Yes. Yes. Because when they are so data driven and driven by logic, they may need time to warm up to something which is new, right? Because it's out of the box for them. Absolutely. Wonderful. Should we move on to T, the gentleman right at the center? Okay, we have more coming in. Very rigid with decisions. So team would find it difficult. Yes. You know, another challenge, time and target orientation could be a challenge. Yes. Why? Because when you are a perfectionist, there may be a challenge of adhering to timelines.
Correct.
Right? So the team can find it difficult to work with someone who is so, keeps giving iterations after iterations because they are not happy with the outcome. And it could be challenging for the team then, because then there is a timeline to adhere to, and then there is a quality to adhere to. That blend could be a challenge. Yes, absolutely. Coming to the gentleman right at the center, Mr. T, right? This person is absolutely bottom line oriented, right? Needs to make sure that the work is done. Now, this person is ruthless. This person doesn't care how the work is done. So contrasting to B, who is about the process, T is about the end goal. Says, I don't care how you do it. I don't care whether you're spending sleepless nights. I don't care what you do. Make sure that it is done, right? So they are extremely accomplishment oriented, extremely ambitious, cannot tolerate incompetence. Just like B is a perfectionist in terms of delivery, T does not like incompetence in terms of working with people. They get very impatient. So T is a very, very impatient kind of person, right? But at the same time, they are very, very motivating as people because they want the work to be done. They may not have the skill set to do the work themselves, but they can get people to do it. So they will call out a spade. They will say, if you can't do this, you can't do this. But if you do it really well, they are very assured to be able to encourage you as well, right? So what do you think the challenges of as a leader? What do you think T would be facing as challenges as a leader?
We encourage everybody to participate.
Yes.
Yeah. More answers, the better. Yeah, we have one.
Yes, commitment from the team to him is very low.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because the team may feel that they don't have that sense of connection at all because they're all about get the work done. I don't care. Team members may not find him approachable. Absolutely. Yes, because they come across as really ruthless, right? Sometimes unreasonably so. Could compromise with work ethics, yes. Hard to close the deals. Okay, hard to close the deals, really? I'm not sure about that. The team may find it, would see a lot of attrition. Yes.
That's a big one.
Yes, a hardcore T would see a lot of attrition for sure. Yes. Right.
Excellent.
So wonderful team. Yes. Very easy to get offended, not get respect from the team. Everything looks meaningless. Yes. Only task oriented. This is wonderful. Thank you so much. Could be very non-flexible. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Wonderful. Thank you all. I mean, it's amazing to see how the relatability is happening. Wonderful. The next, we move on to the lady next to T, which is S, right? Now, S is all about innovation, is about futuristic thinking, right? Is about high energy. Let's have fun with this, creative, right? They're very intuitive as people, right? So they are about let's do it for the fun of it. It's going to bring up a lot of it's going to open up a lot of avenues. It's going to create a lot of opportunity for us. Let's do it. However, since they are so high energy, there is a very high chance that they will also get bored very easily, right? So while B is about being consistent and doing things in a particular way and being data driven, S, on the other hand, will start and then, get into it, but may not finish, right? Because they can get bored very, very easily. But they bring in a lot of fun and a lot of creativity to the environment, right? But they do not like processes. They do not like structures. They don't like being too organized. They'll be very haphazard because it works for them, right? That's what helps them be creative and helps them keep going. What do you think the challenges could be for S as a leader?
Everybody's thinking.
Yes. And then we'll have like a storm of messages. Yes. May come across as unpredictable. Beautiful. Very true. Right. And usually as a team, we want to gauge we want to gauge the leader, right? We want to see how to work with them. And if they come across as unpredictable, it can be really challenging. Haywire output, possible, possible, absolutely. Quality of work could be compromised because it's not streamlined. Yes. May not achieve the desired result. Yes, may achieve it, but may not achieve it consistently, right? So it could be, so the graph could be very like, up peaking, and then suddenly there is like a downtime, and then the team feels a little lost under their leadership. Yes, absolutely. Wonderful. Let's move to the last one. R. Okay. So there's one more. There could be a disconnect between the leader and the team. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. Right. We move to the last one, who's R. Now, this person is in the state of transition, right? There could be some big change taking place in their life. It could be at a personal level. It could be a transition in the job. It could be transition in the role. Maybe they've been handed over this team newly, as a result of which they are a little confused and they're trying to seek clarity in the kind of work. They're trying to get to know the team better. So they are not very forthcoming with their thoughts and ideas. So they are still in the figuring out phase, right? So if R were a leader, what do you think their challenges could be?
Someone who is just taking on a new role, somebody who is just transitioning from being a leader of a small team to a bigger team, or a bigger department, or a bigger division,
Or vice versa.
or vice versa.
From a big team
Bigger
to a
to
small
a
team.
small. Yeah.
What do you think their challenges could be?
Yeah.
To get cooperation from the team may be difficult. Yes. Adopting to the situation. Yes. Yes. Still trying to adjust and therefore perhaps low on confidence. They may be unsure. Yes, absolutely. As a result, there could be a chance that the team may think that they've landed up with a leader that is not serious, maybe, or so confused themselves, right? So what works, and usually this phase it is a phase, right? There is no clear vision. Yes. So this is a phase which will pass. But during this phase, as a leader, it helps when they get to work with a mentor or a coach, or some kind of guidance, because it helps them clear their mind and get clarity, right? So these are really the 5 different types of people that we could be, as a result of which our leadership style is very highly influenced by it, right? So if you could take a moment to just reflect and see which of the 5 do you relate with the most, C being people oriented, B being detail and process oriented, T being the ambitious bottom line oriented, S being the intuition and innovation oriented, and R being in transition. Just give it a thought, think about it, and you could note it down in your diaries, or you could write it in the chat box.
Okay.
We'd be happy to know. And, and also, while you're thinking about this, the other question also, right? Do you relate with the strengths and weaknesses? Or do you relate with 2 or 3 of these together, right? Because we could be an overlap of a couple of them, don't have to necessarily be just one.
Correct.
Okay, Malika says she relates with C and B. Wonderful.
So if you have noted it down in your book and or wouldn't want to put it in the chat box, just let us know so that we can move on. Otherwise, we'll wait
Yes, you can just say that.
Yeah, because it's quite a heavy dose, Sushma, in terms of all the different types. So we'll give some time. B and S, but currently R. Okay. Thanks,
Super.
Nilesh.
That's wonderful awareness, Nilesh. Thank you
Yeah.
for sharing.
Yes.
T and C. Super. Wow. And that's quite a combination, isn't it? People orientation plus the bottom line orientation. Wonderful.
CBT. Okay.
Wow. C, B, and T.
Okay. CSR. Sagar. So
Awesome. And it's interesting when it is a C, S, and R, you could find it difficult to work with people. If your team is full of data-driven people or, bottom line oriented people, as a leader, there can be a little bit of challenge. And it's very helpful to know that this is the entire gamut, right? So it's wonderful to, as a reflective tool for sure. And just to let you know, while y'all are at it, this is actually a full blown concept, and you may have seen in my introduction, psychogeometrics. That's something that I'm licensed in, and this is something that we do as full-fledged sessions or part of interventions. And this is also something that we will be doing in our retreat that Makarand and I are going to be hosting really soon. We'll be talking about it in a bit, but while we are at it, thought it'll help to let you know. It's a beautiful assessment. All right, should we move on?
So before we move on, Sushma, let me pose a question
Sure.
to the group that while you have become aware about your own styles as the CBTSR and the possible weaknesses or the areas of challenges that come along with it, whatever you are connecting with, please note it down in your notebooks because that will help you. And if you're free to put it in the chat box for everybody's sharing, we will be happy. But if you do not want to do that and respect the privacy, you can say, okay, this is what I am at the stage. While I am this styles, these are the few things that I need to take care of, because that awareness is going to help you change certain things if you want to. So I thought I'll put it in the, yeah.
Right. So if I understand correctly, Matt, you're asking them to list down the traits because of which they think they are a B or an S, right?
Yes. And the areas of challenges that come along with it. So it is two sides of the same coin. So if I am a C, they come along with some certain other challenges, which if I'm not aware or if I don't take into account, I'll have disappointments either with myself or with my team. Right. So just to get that awareness, noting it down will help. Yeah.
Right. Awesome.
Perfect. Yeah, we can move on.
All right. Are you all with us? Can we have a thumbs up so we know that we are all together in this already yet? Still. Superb.
Yeah, lovely.
Thank you. Thank you all. So we're going to take a quick moment because we are on half time and we're perfectly on time. We're thrilled about that. Chrysalis is something which, if you all have not seen it yet, because we're talking about it, Makarand and I decided to come together to do this retreat for leaders, which is a residential format. And the idea is to get people who manage teams to work together and have a lot of introspective and reflective moments through the through the 3 days. Because the reason why we thought of doing something like this is usually what is planned for leadership is outbound trainings, which is very action oriented, right? So we thought that something which is like a retreat would be very helpful to connect with themselves and do a lot of reflective work. Of course, there are activities and there are activities in all kinds of sessions, but it's not just behavior oriented, but a lot of awareness of thoughts and emotions and all of that. So Mac and I decided to join our synergies and bring our worlds together to create something. And we're really excited about this. So if I'm not sure if some of you have already registered, that we're really, really excited about this. And if you all want more information, do reach out to us and we'll be more than happy to share, because a lot of organizations are considering nominating their leaders as well. We just thought we'll take a quick moment to share this. And now we move on to the 5 strategies, which, by the way, there is also a bonus sixth strategy, which will come right at the end. So we take this up one at a time. Okay. Now, since we gave you like a little bit of a flavor about Chrysalis and we told you what that's going to be like, you may get a sense of what the strategies may be like also, right? Because a lot of it was, even when we spoke about the various styles of leadership, if you notice, it is a little different than what we would usually read about, right? So from that standpoint, even the strategies that we are going to be talking about are more to do with yourself and not about what you can do, right? So we're going to try and see how you can orient more and be more connected with yourself, right? So in keeping with that, the first strategy is be self-aware. What do you understand by self-awareness? Can we have some inputs in the chat box? What do you understand when we say be self-aware?
Sushma has asked a very heavy question.
You know, it's either heavy or we use the term so frequently that we don't take a moment to actually think about what it means. So, okay, being aware of our strengths and weaknesses. Yes, knowledge of our strengths and weaknesses. What else? What do we mean when we say being self-aware?
Know about yourself, absolutely.
About yourself, yes. You know, sometimes what happens is we may be having a bad day, right? And then a team member says something to us and we snap. And then we say, I don't know what happened. That was not me, right? Now, when I am self-aware, I'm someone who is constantly recognizing what triggers me, what are my emotions, what am I thinking at any given point of time, for me to know that this is what is me, right? These are my patterns, these are my triggers, this is the conditioning because of which, you know, I am who I am, this is me breaking away from my conditioning. It's literally like I have a little camera placed in my mind because of which I'm totally aware of everything. It's like me being my best friend, right? I know my strengths, my weaknesses, my likes, my dislikes, what triggers me, what works for me, you know, times of the day that I am really productive, times of the day that I'm really irritable. You know, imagine if you knew that about yourself, how wonderful it would be, because as a leader, you know how to, you know, leverage yourself, you know. Tell me, how would being self-aware help you be a better leader? Considering that we are saying this is the first strategy to take into consideration to be a great leader. I'm hoping that there are people typing, because unfortunately in Zoom, we can't see who's typing, who's not.
Yeah.
For the benefit of everyone, the question is, how does being self-aware help me be a better leader, irrespective of my natural style of leadership? Nice. Be balanced, equipoised. You are in control of your emotions and response. Yes, absolutely.
And our team members are constantly looking for this. Nobody spells it out. A leader is constantly under watch. He's always on the stage. He or she is always on stage, whether they know it or do not know it, acknowledge or do not acknowledge. They are on the stage. So everybody is panning them constantly. Very balanced person, knows what he wants. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Right. So therefore you become that role model, like Max said. You become that person, not because you have to be that person, but you're just being yourself and you're living the life that you would want to live. And then there are people modeling you also. Super. Moving on to the second strategy.
Yep.
And it's not going. Yes.
Okay. So this is something which is, and the button tells us all that we need to pause. And as leaders, we are always in action mode. It's like the hamster on the treadmill, right? Continuously running. We have to get a lot of things done, hire people, fire people, get activity done, bring the bottom line, do more business, manage something, customer challenges, growth, everything is going on, projects being run. And there is so much that is happening, right? So much action that is happening that we forget to actually pause. And that's why we have, as on the end of this is, we get a burnout syndrome. Sometimes people collapse, there are health issues, and sometimes there are fatalities. I'm sure we don't want those, but those are eventualities that happen because we are so constantly running and the pause button is never clicked. And the benefit of a pause button, I would like to give you a small quick story of Buddha. Not just from a physical aspect of pausing, because physically we need to pause from activity. But there is a short story of Buddha when he was traveling through a jungle, and some of you might have heard this story. He was going with his disciples and they crossed a stream. And it was a pristine, beautiful stream. And when they passed it, the water was pure, clean. And Buddha went ahead, they went ahead probably a kilometer and they said, I'm thirsty, go and get me some water. And one of the disciples runs to the water and he sees that a herd of cattle has just passed through and the water has become extremely murky. And he says, I can't bring this water to Buddha. So he runs back saying that the water is dirty. Buddha says, no, get me water from that stream, same stream. He comes back, the water is still murky. He says, he's Buddha, he's for me, he's everything. I cannot give him this dirty water. So he goes back again 1 kilometer running, huffing and puffing. He says, Buddha, the water is dirty. There is another stream ahead. I know the geography. I'll get water from there. He said, no, go there. Now this time don't come back, just sit there. And the disciple, that because Buddha has instructed, he will follow it like a T. He goes there, sits there, and lo and behold, after a few minutes passing, the water settles down. It again becomes crystal clear. And he fills the jar and comes back to Buddha. And then he understands the lesson. And I would like to ask you, what was the lesson before I tell about Buddha? I'm no Buddha. So when the water settled down, what happened? When we paused and somebody instructed you to pause, the Buddha instructed you to pause. What could you get when you pause in your life? Think about it for a moment and see what you're connecting with. Again, irrespective of your leadership style, whether you're a C, B, T, S or R. Clarity, yes. Clarity, okay, lovely. Clarity in thoughts, lovely. Patience leads to desired results, yes, Kaustav, absolutely. We are so much in a gunslinger mode most of the time without even realizing that we are in that mode. And as a leader, sometimes there is a persona that is created around a leader that the leader has to get all the answers right then, immediately, because somebody says something, I need to be in control. I need to be the person who can solve things very quickly. Sometimes you don't have the answers, and it's okay to not have the answers. And pausing not only gives you physical help, which is rest, but pausing also clears your thoughts. Something new emerges. All the clutter goes away. And that's the benefit of pausing. How many of you, I would like to ask, are familiar and regularly click this pause button on an everyday basis? Are you right now in a pause mode? Because right now we are you are all listening. So technically you should be or could be in a pod mode or pause mode. So when was the last time you hit it? Does anybody remember? Yes, have patience. Yeah. Patience is a virtue, is there? That's it, right? And many of us do not have it for whatever reasons. So does anybody remember when did they hit the pause button? Physically and mentally, both.
And if it's been a long time, you can write that in the chat box too, because then that is you being aware. And that's powerful too, because then you can do something about it.
Correct. Yeah. Shifting from old organization, when we are doing that, you hit the pause button. Yes. So the person who left that organization and joined the new organization was slightly different, Deepesh. Is that what you're saying? From a personality point of view. Lovely. Superb. Yeah. And that helped you, right? The moment you did that, you could take an assessment, like a retrospective assessment. What we encourage is that this should happen very often, every day. I know you cannot do it every hour. I know some of our clients do that as a practice where they have a alarm clock which buzzes every 1 hour and they just stop and say whatever, not if they're in the middle of a meeting or doing something, but they have a ritual that they would pause, and at that time they will not do anything. They will not look at emails, they will not look at their notepads, they will not look at their phones. They'll just pause and not even think about anything, just settle down and then restart again. And that works for them. Every one of us can create our own systems. And again, like Sushma said, we will be talking in detail about these things in Chrysalis in more and greater detail. But pausing is extremely crucial when it comes to leadership. Okay, lovely. I get it.
Wonderful.
Nice, super, lovely. Yeah, that's a great practice to have. Super. So we have done 2 strategies so far, being self-aware and pausing. Let's move on to the next one, which is balancing. Yes, Sushma.
Yes, Mac, you can take this one too.
Okay, lovely. So again, it is linked to pausing that we are so much in a trigger mode and action mode that we are always doing. Yeah. This is kind of an amalgamation of the previous 2 in terms of being in a state of being is who you are. You are completely soaked in your own persona. But we do not do that because we have, and sometimes we bring an act, and it's okay to have an act in terms of being a leader, but getting into the doing mode doesn't allow us to stay between our being, which is our natural state of being. At rest, who we are is what connects us to the most. And when we are in that being mode, you can be at a natural best. Otherwise, you will always be at an effort, trying to push something, trying to be going away from your natural style, your natural way of being. You are always under duress. So being in that activity mode or that autopilot mode, as we are, again, can cause harm, not just to yourself, but to your teams, because what you do, people follow. And if you are an influential leader with a higher position, higher power, then whatever you do as a leader becomes a rule for others to ape and follow and emulate. And then you look and say, I don't think this is right because everybody is the same. And so between that balance of being and doing, sometimes if you do not do that, that can create a lot of havoc in the team. Yep. Anybody can, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
To add to that, we are called human beings for a reason, right? We are not called human doings.
Yes.
However, this need to be productive all
Yes.
the time is just so overrated that we think that it's not okay to be. We think that we have to keep doing. Like
Correct.
even when we take a vacation, right? We're taking off a checklist. We are not being, we are not soaking it in anymore. Why? Because it's like, what do we do? What do we do? We were at the vacation. What did we do? We took a break. What did we do? We're at work. What did we do? Right? So can we give ourselves the permission to be from time to time? Because after all, we are human beings.
Yeah. What are you connecting with this? So can we say we are being when we are not doing? Unless you are at rest in your head, which is your thoughts, you're already in doing mode because you're not doing physically, but you are doing mentally. Being is about calming down, allowing that mud to settle down. So yes, Veena, it is close to that, but it is not fully that. Being is at a state where there are no thoughts. You are just the way you are. It is on a default, but because of the design that you are in. So I know it's a complex statement, but it's a default because that's the design you are made of.
All right. Should we move on to the next one?
Let me see if anybody has. I'm looking at a time as well, but we have 2 more to go, or 3 more. There's a bonus one.
Bonus one. Yes.
Does anybody have any questions for this? And if we couldn't address it in this session, we'll make a note and we'll figure out how to get you the answer. Yeah. Lovely. Yes, move on.
Okay. The fourth one says hold space for others and for yourself. Now, as a leader, there is this expectation by others and a self-inflicted expectation where we are in telling mode. We're always directing people. We are telling them what they should do, what they should not do. We're telling ourselves what we should do, what we should not do, right? But imagine if we were just to hold space for them, where we are just allowing them to be, because a lot of times you may notice that, when you're speaking to a team member, sometimes it's a beautiful conversation where you're just listening. You're just holding space where they are going through the entire conversation, their journey, and eventually they find answers themselves. And, as you see in the picture, you're just holding space and then the flower is blossoming, correct? And for you to be able to do that, for you to be able to hold space, you need to make sure that you are being kind and compassionate towards yourself. And that is easier said than done, because we are conditioned to have this entire checklist to adhere to so that we think we are okay, right? For us to believe that we are good enough, we need to be A, B, C, D, E, F, G to Z also sometimes, right? So if we were able to just hold our space, believe that we are good enough the way we are, and we are work in progress, and we are growing, and we are literally like blossoming to be better versions of ourselves every single day, we can do that with others as well, right? If we are not like that with us, and if we think, oh no, but I do that for other people, let's understand it's actually not coming from a space of genuinely holding space, right? It's coming again from a checklist. As a good leader, I have to, right? And then you're again making it about yourself. That's pressurizing, right? So that's another task that you think you need to accomplish, right? And going back to the natural leadership style, somebody who is like C, right? Who's people oriented, this may come naturally for them for other people,
Correct.
right? But it may be still difficult for them to do it for themselves, because then they are so used to putting other people first. Correct. So it's important that we're empathetic towards ourselves. If we are having a low day, we allow ourselves the permission, we give ourselves permission to express that emotion, not by lashing out at someone, but recognizing and acknowledging it for ourselves. We think we need somebody to rant to, or to scream at, or to lash out at. No, we can be that for ourselves, right? And we can also be that for someone else just by holding space, right? Any thoughts that come up for you on this particular point? Anything that you would like to share? Please feel free to reach out to the chat box. Is this something that you are able to do? Is this something that you struggle with? Yes. When we do this, the team will be committed. Absolutely.
As coaches, Sushma and I are trained, or I'll use the word trained or conditioned to hold space for others. So we are very good at pauses. So if there is something that is happening and nobody's speaking, we can keep quiet. Right now, because we have a timeline and we have to go through a session and complete that, we will break the pause. But if this was a normal session, both of us would have just kept quiet till the time the other person speaks or says or gives some clue. Yeah, it's desirable. Yeah, Nilesh says it's desirable, but not easy to practice.
Absolutely.
True. Absolutely.
And that's a powerful awareness too. Because either we are in a hurry or we make it about ourselves in the sense, how can I give advice? How can I fix this problem for this person? Right? But when we know that the answer lies within each one of us, right? And we are not saying that as leaders, you're not supposed to guide at all. No, that's not what we are saying. But we are saying that it's not necessary to keep being in the directive and the telling mode all the time. Right? It can be a very beautiful blend where you recognize that this is something where they just need space to be themselves. And there could be times where they're genuinely looking for guidance, right? So
Correct.
making it about the team and also, being kind towards yourself.
I'd like to add one thing about that and that is there in between for others and yourself. In a corporate environment, there are polarities. Because of the nature of a corporate environment, any leader wants to guard themselves, and which is true because of the environment that you are in. And it could be hostile, it could be good, but either ways you want to guard yourself and you will hold space for yourself because you are taking care of your needs and your growth. And then there is the other polarity, which is spoken about, which is called a servant leadership, right? Which means you need to do everything for others, you need to serve. And then you get into the other extreme where you are making it everything about others, but then you forget yourself. So, and you have to toggle between these two. Either way is not good because it is not productive. If you are doing too much for yourself, you will become too rigid and be perceived as a very selfish person. If you're going to do it for everything for others, then you're going to get trampled upon without you realizing it. So striking that balance of holding space, as Sushma said, is necessary. And like Nilesh said, is desirable, but not easy to practice. And there are ways and means to do that, where you could learn this and start practicing it on a regular basis. Yeah. We can move to the next one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Last one. Mac, you take this up.
Okay, so I have one here, practicing with team, difficult, but giving space to them, make them responsible. Yes. Yeah. Giving space. Yeah. The moment you give space, you might allow somebody who is yet to blossom in your team to blossom, because they might be holding back for many things. Yep. Yeah. Moving to the fifth one, which is having fallbacks in place. All the four that we have gone through, things sometimes don't go as per plan. And in life, we know that if we don't have a plan B, C, D, E, F, whatever, it becomes very difficult because then anxiety creeps in, you get anxious, you get irritable, a lot of things show up. And if we can create processes, systems, and also me time. Now, I'll just delve into this. There is another myth that leadership is a lonely game, yeah, which is true to a degree, but it is not an entire truth. You might be lonely or alone in a certain environment, but you can create fallbacks in terms of a support system. If you're a leader, you can have a peer group leader system within the organization, outside of the organization. You can network with other peer members within your own ilk or industry whom you can talk about certain things, obviously with managing the brevity and the confidentiality of things. But if you do not have that support system, it becomes extremely lonely. And because of that, there is a lot of pressure on you as a leader. That me time is also related to the pause and self-development in terms of what am I going to do when things don't go the way I am planning to. And the processes and structures are plan A, plan B, which is all about thinking it through, that always having a what if scenario in your mind, saying that, okay, I have this plan. This is what my team is going to deliver. This is what I am committed to. What if this doesn't happen? What is my fallback? Especially in today's times, and when we have gone through the VUCA world and with COVID, agile is the new word and a buzzword in the marketplace, right? Everybody has to be agile, whatever that agile means. What agile to us means is you should be ready with the next course of action before time is lost. And today that time is extremely critical. So there is a kind of a quandary in this, in terms of we want to be agile, we want to be thinking, and I want to be self-aware. So all of these happen simultaneously and concurrently. But when you have a fallback and a support system, it just helps to manage yourself in a better way because you're not alone there. And again, here is where if you do not have structures within the organization, it could be family, friends, and then professional help like coaching and mentorships comes into play in this area. And that is what people are looking for, because that really, really helps them. Anything that comes to your mind while you have soaked this fallbacks? And I'm sure all of you would have your own structures and methods. If you could share that.
Just to add here, like, so Mac talks about playbooks,
Yes.
right? Where you create, like a system, because something that works for you, you have steps and you've done it once, you've done it twice, and then you can replicate it. So it literally becomes a fallback, not just for you, but also for your team, because it's worked, it's tried and tested, you've tried it multiple times. So it could be a playbook in, say, a crisis intervention. It could be a playbook for a particular scenario. It could be so many different things where it's like a system and you create it. And you create it by being aware and by going through all of this, that we've spoken about already. And then there you develop your own powerful system, which then then becomes a part of your fallback too.
Correct. And the natural style of leadership is watch me. This is that we all, or many of us, have become leaders in our lives by watching somebody else as a leader. And because that's just the way it has been. When you create these systems, and as I call them playbooks, it becomes a transferable tool that I can now train somebody in this methodology. They might adapt it to their own styles because they might be a B, C, or R, and they will adapt it, but they have a skeletal structure of decision making, crisis management, growth structures, hiring, changing something, whatever that might be, change management. You have a playbook to play with. So that's the fallbacks in place. So anybody connecting with this as a strategy of being a great leader, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Does anybody have a playbook of their own? That will be even better. If there is any question, you can ask a question also, okay? Is everybody with us? Can you say a thumbs up? Because
yeah, and how many of you relate with the 5 strategies that we have shared so far?
Yes.
Does it make sense? Does it not make sense?
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Veena.
Oh.
Deepesh is here. Thank you. Lovely.
Awesome.
Lovely. Yeah. Let's go to before you go to the bonus one.
Yes. We just wanted to quickly let you know that in Chrysalis, everything that we spoke about right now is what you get, right? Like, we are going to develop playbooks together. We are going to have a lot of awareness exercises. Those of you who've done work, like attended workshops with me also from the whole being space, would have some sense of what we are talking about, right? But think about it from a residential standpoint where you're connecting with nature and all of that. And, this is definitely something that, we're doing from helping you being perspective. So, so this is something that we are very, very excited about. And that's it. I mean, it's like a countdown that's on for us, and we are thrilled about it. And we just wanted to share the joy with you. And that's where we are at right now. Anything that you'd like to add, Mac, before we go to the last?
Yeah. So quick one, Sushma. One is you mentioned we'll be doing for you to be being. Yeah. We are going to access to multiple realms. Normally, whenever you see a program of a residential nature, there's a lot of activity, action, outbound, and PowerPoint slides. We will have neither in those form. And that's consciously made as a decision and a choice that we would like to have conversations along with the group, where there will be paired activities, group activities, and solo activities, where you delve deeper into yourself. And it talks about resetting a leader's mindset. So it's not about giving you new skill sets, because everybody is an accomplished leader already who is coming there. They are leading large teams, large organizations, and large functions. What we are going to focus on is about the mindset, so that we can recalibrate ourselves, try to find some new playbooks, and lead ourselves first before we go out and start leading others. So that's going to be the crux of the whole 3-day program. And we look forward if somebody from here is going to join. I know some of you have already registered, but we don't want to take much time on this one. We just wanted to give you a glimpse of what's going to happen there. So let's go to the bonus strategy.
Yes.
Yes.
And I would have otherwise asked people to guess, but since we are short on time, we will go right in.
Yes. So this is one of my favorite one, that knowing what I know, I always know that I don't know enough, right? And always having a beginner's mindset gives you a lot of room for trying new things, being inquisitive and being curious. And I learned a distinction recently while I was reading a book. So I wanted to talk about curiosity and inquiry. I always thought being curious was nice, but I realized curiosity comes from a point of intelligence where we want to ask more questions because we become more intelligent by asking more questions. So it comes from a knowledge domain, whereas inquiry comes from a truth domain. That when you inquire something, again, we'll get deeper into when we work for a longer duration, but having a beginner's mindset gives you a chance to allow new things to emerge, which means that I don't have all the answers. Maybe somebody in my team will have an answer. Maybe somebody outside of my team will have an answer. It doesn't matter where the answer comes from, as long as something that needs to get solved gets solved. And that's the beginner's mindset. The world is shifting really, really quickly and fast. We have AI, which is taking over our own mindsets, which is going to make us not think at all. And so that's a threat that we can see as leaders, as human beings, that we are going to become so lazy that the beginner mindset is going to go into a Google screen and say, tell me what do I do in this situation? And you'll get a 2-page draft and you have lost all thinking abilities. So the bonus strategy is always have a beginner's mindset, which means fail. Be open to have some bumps on the road with obviously conscious choices to make. But having that is always going to help you move forward in a joyous way because something new will emerge. So that was the final bonus strategy. Yes, I can see.
And to add to that little bit, right? When we talk about the beginner's mindset, when we think about a child, right? The child is so excited to know because they are not thinking, oh my God, I'm going to be judged if I fail or if this doesn't work. Correct. So if we were able to integrate that childlike enthusiasm as part of the mindset, just imagine how fun it will be because we're just in exploratory phase throughout, right? We're learning, we're unlearning, we're not learning in order to achieve, or it's not like a pressure induced thing at all. We're enjoying the journey. And then that becomes fun because then we reach the destination and the destination keeps changing in any case, right? So it becomes an exciting, enthusiastic and fun journey as we go along. So yes, that was the bonus strategy. Quickly, before we move on to the questions, which of the strategies resonated most with you and what are you going to take away and implement after today? We would really like to know that. Quick word in the chat, please.
I think we will have few responses one at a time. Yes. Pause, lovely, as a leader.
Wonderful.
The pause button, yeah. Nice. Self-awareness. Thanks, Hemant. Pause.
Wonderful.
Initially, it will take a lot of effort to pause because it's not in our design. We have to structure those pause in our lives. Balancing being and doing.
Lovely. Self-awareness and holding space. Super.
Super.
Wonderful. And we now open the forum for questions if there are any. Feel free to, and if you would like to follow us on any of the social media, we're super excited. Again, the learning journey, we having a beginner's mindset. We figured that this can be put on a QR code and put on the things. It's just here in case you would like to scan and join. And over to any questions. We are here for another 5 minutes. But this is pretty much the end of it. And Matt, if you could share the feedback form link, or we could send it on email. Either is okay. It would be really, really helpful if y'all could.
Sushma, can you put that in the chat box? Because I don't have it.
I'm not able to access it actually.
Okay, I'll do that. Yeah, okay, hold on.
Sorry.
No, it's all right.
Any questions, anything that anyone would like to share? We are here for it.
So I'll just put that feedback in the chat box. Just give me a second.
Sure. Are you able to see the screen still?
You have stopped sharing, right?
I am not sure whether it stopped or
No,
not.
it stopped. Yeah, I think so. Any questions, please go ahead. We'll be happy to take it.
If nothing, I think we can close.
Just let me put the
Sure.
link in the. There's a question, Sushma? Is leadership process continuous and evolving? Absolutely. Yeah.
In fact, every single day, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact that once one becomes self-aware and takes time for themselves, you realize that you need to let go of certain old styles and old methodologies, and you need to adapt to the current environment. Your core remains same. What remains same, Nilesh, would be your value systems. There is also a school of thought that says that your value systems evolve over the number of years, basis who you are at that stage in life, but the core value systems remain same. But your leadership persona can change as you move along. Different roles, different organization, different type of work. So yes, it is continuous and evolving.
Right. And also as we grow as individuals, it's obviously going to impact how we are as leaders, because at the end of the day, it is us being leaders too. So the more we work on ourselves, we become better leaders too. So just as we are evolving as individuals, we are evolving as leaders as well.
Correct. So we have the chat, the form, feedback form. We'll request you to please fill it. Tell us what went work, what did not. Be happy to give us feedback, because we have a beginner's mindset. So we'll evolve and we'll change, and next time we'll do a better one.
Yes, and very important field that we have included is any other sessions, any topics specifically that you have in mind that you would like us to conduct. Please let us know, because we would love to create something that you are looking to achieve, or looking for information on. So
Absolutely.
Please do that, and that will be really, really helpful.
Thanks, Veena. Thank you so much. Thanks, Sagar. Thanks, Nilesh.
Thanks a lot. Thank you all very much for your time. It was wonderful being here.
Thanks, Ashish. Thanks, Kaustav. Thanks, Dipesh. All righty. So we'll keep the chat box open for a while before you click on it, and then we'll close the session.
Yes.
Lovely. Have a pleasant evening and a nice weekend.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.